Welcome to Next Tech. Since the time SpaceX dispatched its first group of web-radiating satellites a year ago, stargazers have watched with fear as the organization kept on shooting more and more shuttles into space. Could this expanding constellation of splendid satellites fill the night sky with counterfeit light and waste up perceptions of the universe for quite a long time to come? Presently, new information is in part approving what numerous cosmologists have dreaded since that first dispatch. In today's video, we are talking about the real reason why SpaceX is making Starlink. Make sure you watch this video till the end to see if the cost of building this massive new space project will be covered by the eventual benefits that will come from it. As of recently, individuals have been to some degree in obscurity about the genuine effect of SpaceX's Web from Space project called Starlink, which imagines almost 12,000 of these satellites circling Earth. SpaceX's satellites are overly splendid contrasted with others. The Stargazers have been stressed that with such countless radiant satellites in the sky, the chances of one passing before a telescope and clouding a picture will increase. It ends up a few stargazers or astronomers have motivation to be concerned. Specific sorts of stargazing might be more adversely influenced than others. One friend evaluated study shows, especially those sorts that scour huge areas of the sky throughout extensive stretches of time searching for weak, distant items. That implies researchers searching for removed articles past Neptune, including the chase for the puzzling Planet 9, might experience difficulty when Starlink is finished. Also, Starlink might be substantially more obvious during nightfall hours or the initial not many hours of the evening, which could be a significant issue in the chase for gigantic space rocks made a beeline for Earth. It relies upon what science you're doing, and that is truly what it comes down to. Jonathan McDowell, an astrophysicist at Harvard and spaceflight master who composed the investigation acknowledged by Astrophysical Journal letters, reveals to The Verge. In the meantime, researchers are likewise learning if SpaceX's push to moderate the splendor of its satellites is really going to work. The organization covered one of its satellites, trying to cause it to show up less noticeable in the sky. Presently, the principal perceptions of that satellite are being distributed, and the covering is working. However, it probably won't be sufficient to satisfy everybody. It doesn't tackle the issue. Jeremy Treglon-Reed, a scientist at the University of Antofagasta and lead creator on the investigation, which is going through peer audit in astronomy and astrophysics letters, discloses to The Verge. However, it shows that SpaceX has accepted stargazers' interest, and it gives off the impression of being attempted to settle the circumstance. For stargazers, light is everything. Noticing heavenly articles in various frequencies of light is the best technique we have for investigating the universe. That is the reason adding counterfeit light to the sky goes ballistic for countless researchers. A few stargazers take long openness pictures of the sky, gathering however much light as could be expected from inaccessible articles. And when a splendid satellite mirroring light from the sun passes overhead, it can leave a long white streak that ruins the image. Obviously, the sky is a major material, and one little satellite won't be a significant cerebral pain. A large group of components directly precisely how and when satellites will be an issue. A satellite's size, shape, tallness, and way around the Earth all influence precisely how much light it reflects from the sun and where individuals will see it the most. In the meantime, the season and the hour of night decide how much daylight is beaming on the satellite out of the blue. To sort out Starlink's precise impact on the evening, McDowell made an exhaustive reenactment dependent on what we need to think about where the entirety of the Starlink satellites are going. In front of dispatching its star grouping, SpaceX needed to document numerous solicitations with the Federal Communications Commission, itemizing where the organization intended to send the entirety of its shuttle. Utilizing that data, McDowell concocted a depiction of which regions will see the most satellites overhead and what season of night will be the most noticeably awful for perceptions. In the more northern and southern scopes, Starlink satellites will rule the skyline during the first and most recent couple of hours of the evening. In the late spring, it'll be a lot more awful, with many satellites noticeable for those in rustic regions from city-like contamination. Where I reside, in Boston, I can see the planes flying over Logan Airport not too far off, says McDowell. That is what it will resemble. However, it'll be satellites, and it'll be a ton of them. SpaceX declined to comment for this story, while individuals living in urban communities and towns will not actually notice. This spells awful news for those chasing truly removed weak articles utilizing long openings. The more drawn out that you have the screen open for, the more that you're probably going to have a perception obstructed by one of those streaks that are very brilliant. Michelle Bannister, a planetary stargazer at the University of Canterbury in New Zealand, who assisted McDowell with his exploration, reveals to The Verge. That implies those chasing Planet 9 and items at the edge of the solar system have some reason to get excited. Also, space rock trackers will be extra influenced by this heavenly body, says McDowell. They're truly hosed on the grounds that they will need to take a gander at dusk, he says. With respect to how that affects these cosmology fields, one clear concern is that a conceivably dangerous space rock could go unseen until it's past the point where it is possible to act suitably. It's likewise potential spectators should take costly countermeasures to get the sort of pictures they need. It might mean you need to get noticed twice as long in the event that you need to discard a large portion of your information, says McDowell. So that is costly. Or on the other hand, you may have to make changes to your telescope configuration to prevent reflections from a satellite. The silver covering here, at any rate, is that McDowell's examination found that Starlink may not actually bigly affect a ton of other Stargazers' work, particularly the individuals who just glance at little cuts of the night sky for specific timeframes. In any case, his work goes against what SpaceX CEO Elon Musk has said about Starlink and its cosmology repercussions. I'm certain that we won't cause any effect at all in galactic disclosures. Zero, Musk said during a space gathering toward the start of March. That is my expectation. Also, we'll make a restorative move if it's over nothing. Despite Musk's bold declaration, the fact of the matter is SpaceX has effectively made some remedial move, yet new exploration shows it may not be sufficient to quiet the entirety of the organization's fault finders. On its third Starlink dispatch in January, SpaceX incorporated a satellite that had been painted with a trial covering, intended to obscure the rocket's reflectivity, nicknamed DarkSat. The shuttle had been exceptionally compelling to beginner satellite trackers. Different observatories have accepted pictures of DarkSat as it's passed overhead to check exactly how much fainter it shows up, contrasted with its partner. The appropriate response, it appears, is that DarkSat is to be sure hazier, however, just somewhat. When it arrived at its last circle, the satellite seemed 55% fainter contrasted with another splendid Starlink satellite, as per Trilogan Reed's investigation. That depends on the underlying perceptions he made utilizing a telescope at the Choirama Observatory in Chile. The DarkSat covering pushes the satellite past having the option to be seen with the unaided eye, says Trilogan Reed. That is a major decrease, yet 55% may not be sufficient for certain observatories. The Vera Rubin Observatory in Chile is as yet under development, yet it has the huge undertaking of reviewing the whole night sky. It will have the option to give us the historical backdrop of the solar framework in a totally mind-boggling and astounding point of interest, says Bannister of the study. Furthermore, I imagine that is unquestionably something that is under danger. People at the observatory have assessed that the Starlink satellites should be even fainter than DarkSat to really avoid the way and not soak the pictures accumulated. Fortunately, SpaceX has indicated that more limit countermeasures might be on their way. During its most recent dispatch, a SpaceX worker noticed that while the covered satellite showed a remarkable decrease in brilliance, a future Starlink satellite might be outfitted with an overhang to additionally lessen reflectivity. We have a couple different thoughts that we think could diminish the reflectivity significantly further, the most encouraging being a covering that would work similarly as a porch umbrella or a sun visor. However, for the satellite, Jessica Anderson, a lead fabricating engineer at SpaceX, said during a live stream. Trilogan Reed said he's cheerful regarding some sort of shade. If that somehow managed to work, then in principle it would shut out the daylight totally, he says. All things considered, that doesn't tackle each and every stargazing issue in light of the fact that even the obscured satellite can in any case be an irritation. Space experts looking for planets past our solar system, for example, regularly take delicate estimations of far-off stars, searching for plunges in their splendor that may show an unfamiliar planet cruising by. In the event that a satellite, even a dim one, were to pass before a star somebody was noticing, it could lose the quest for these outer universes. Regardless, it appears to be that a Goliath group of stars will adversely affect somebody. It would not benefit from outside input. What's more, taking a gander at the higher perspective, SpaceX isn't the only one in its endeavor to make an uber heavenly body of satellites. The organization simply stands out enough to be noticed in the light of the fact that it's proposing the biggest number of shuttles, and its vehicles are large, brilliant, and lower in the sky, contrasted with other proposed groups of stars. Others like OneWeb and Amazon need to likewise fill the sky with web-radiating vehicles. A huge deluge of fake brilliant spots is actually the core of the issue. I understand the importance of Starlink. I can see the benefits of the worldwide internet, says Trilogan Reed. It's just the sheer numbers that are worrying me, but we just have to see how the entire situation plays out in the future. This brings us to the end of the video. What did you think? Do you believe this project will be a benefit or a liability for the space industry? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and like this video. Share it with your friends, and check out all of our other videos as well. See ya!